Welcome to WestWorldia, brought to you by PanNerdia. I'm AA Ron.
I'm Pete.
And welcome back, guys, back to our normal setup. We're back in Utah, as you can see, in this abandoned house. You know, the one that Teddy ended up exiting himself in. Oh, shit, they're right there. Well, maybe he hasn't yet. But, hey, if you guys are here, you've pretty much already seen the episode. At least we hope you have that, or you're coming for our pretty mugs. But welcome back, guys, to PanNerdia, to WestWorldia in general. This is the show where we pretty much review last week's episode of Westworld and preview or predict what's going to happen on the episode that will be happening tonight. Well, tonight is a little special because tonight is the finale of Season 2.
Episode 10.
And we're super excited for that, so much so that we wanted to do another big show back on YouTube and then go deeper into a discussion over on twitch.tv/PanNerdia. But first, we're going to keep it the same as always and do our review of last week's episode. This episode, Vanishing Point, episode 9. Pete, may we begin?
Yes.
Let's do it.
Season 2, episode 9, Vanishing Point. Well, we start off, Emily is at a rally point with her dad, or droid of dad it is, thinking William, needs to go to the hospital. Med alert boxes scattered about and all but a ketchup stain, pun intended actually, on the chest shirt there of William. What's up with that? We'll talk about that a little later, but this sets up the Juliet, played by Celia Ward, the mom flashback, William's wife / Emily's mom. Juliet gets wasted, and we all learn it's a current norm for her in her life. Emily decides to fully commit her mom to rehab. William put Juliet to bed that night of the gala that they made that decision, or at least Emily made the decision. And that, quote, one true thing line had an answer. William confessed his true dark nature, which draws him again and again to WestWorld!
Oh, damn.
That's right. But the thing is that he confessed that his true dark nature draws him there, and that same night, Ford slipped a disc full of Man in Black and young William data. And most of it was rape and carnage, right?
Right, it was, yeah. It was all his worst moments.
It's probably a common data card because that top 1% rich people that go there, that's pretty much what they're doing.
Quote, Ford says, it might not be the most flattering self-portrait.
Yeah. Oh, boy. So that data from young William and Man in Black William was given to William himself. So when he later put Juliet to bed, he slipped a disc into a book. Juliet was listening to that. She was actually awake. She was playing passed out, but she really wasn't. She heard everything in William's staying speech, and of course she wanted the data disc. And she, had a convenient touch screen on her vanity table revealing the collage of various William killings, rape, separate life, etc. So is this stain his shirt he rewears after being bot shot? Or is it his darkness that gravitates him to Westworld? Or is it just stain a metaphor, which I probably think that's the answer, of him being a bot for a long time in both worlds? Either answer works.
I think the stain is the darkness in his heart. The darkness that he always was. It just... that darkness was always there, but perhaps the way he was raised, perhaps, his path as a young one was always, kind of in the light. He was kind of taught right. He was raised right, even though it seemed like he was on the, he was poor next to these rich people, but...
he's got a gene somewhere that makes him get off on violence, or at least not get affected by violence.
Right, and then it didn't really show itself until he was around those who show it like normal, and then... when he gets to Westworld, where he can truly be himself via the first season flashbacks, that stain grows.
True. Well, that was the first revealing fact of many in that episode, in episode 9. Because it was like a fact of many to come. And they were all episode long, starting with Ford giving him the card as part of a deal that would allow Delos to continue William's secret project on the edge of Westworld. That project is named The Valley Beyond. That's the actual project name.
Right.
And for it to go underway at the park's edge, it must never, ever interfere with any of Ford's narratives. I think they both kind of violated that, but maybe not on purpose, just happened.
Ford kind of almost like a little kid. He's like, no, your project violated it.
Yeah, okay, William, you didn't do anything, but your project did, so therefore you did. Well, the next fact revealed was Juliet hiding the card in Emily's rejected gift of a ballerina jewel box, which is really confusing because she told William that she got the gift and like threw it in the trash. Obviously, her mother probably pulled it out of the trash, kept it, and then that's the only explanation.
That's the only explanation, but even then,
she's a bot
there could be,
as well as William.
Exactly.
Who knows?
And it could have been as simple as her just pulling it back out of the trash, but ultimately the scene shows Juliet taking the card, the data card, and placing it in the jewelry box. The same one where, earlier in the episode, Emily was like, "You remember Mom got me on my 16th birthday?" And it showed that box that I'm showing the picture of right here.
Exact
same one. Mm-hmm. And she's like, "Well, I threw it away because I said if you weren't getting drunk all the time, you would have realized I haven't danced in years." And when she did feel bad and went back to get it, though the trash had been taken out already. Mm-hmm. The mom could have took it back out there and kept it, and then later on put the card in and was like, "Oh, she kept the box. There's a card in it."
But mega fans like us are reading into everything,
right?
Because it could be anything. And you know what? Shortly after, the mom hid the card and all that, it was basically pills / tub death. I mean, she gone.
She's gone, and a lot of other real symbolic things with that whole flashback scene. Between all three of that family. I mean, from, the moment to where you can already tell William, you can see William's game. In the real world, we finally get to see how he's like this philanthropist, successful man. He funds charities. He's got this whole event and dinner, actually for him. Although even Juliet says, all these people are here for you, right? Yeah. And then... So we see that side of him, but we know who he truly is as fans of the show. And then you see he's
very cordial, nice, and kind of quiet.
Right.
He kept to himself in the real world.
And you see that Juliet is ultimately, she knows who he is. And then you see Emily, who's on her dad's side, doesn't truly know who he is, and then sees her mom drunk, so is blaming her mom. So it's all towards her.
And Juliet's blaming William for the death of her son, Logan, that overdosed, and the death of her husband that was a failed experiment that she may or may not known about.
Right.
But you could tell in that episode whether Juliet knew any details about the James Delos project. He felt guilty about that. Like he felt like he didn't complete his mission, kind of thing.
Exactly. And back to the symbols, and I kind of got off track myself, but say when Emily and William were finally downstairs taking a drink while the mom was upstairs supposedly, they see the drip of water come down. Again, water in the tub. Well, this fancy chandelier that's hanging over the table, what does the water drip over? Well, something that resembles a pearl. And they even had the pearly kind of blown glass effect. So, whoa. And so more symbols, and very interesting. But shall we continue?
We shall.
I wanted to point that out.
Oh, hold on. I'm freezing up. Okay.
Come back online.
It's obvious both Emily and William bear the guilt of Juliet's death, but Emily is pissed off. William avoided it all by keeping himself in WestWorld. Emily actually shows interest in the Valley Beyond project, though, mainly to better understand her parents. That interest she shows triggers big forward suspicions in William. In his anger, as if he has been a long-time clone running duo, like very long narratives, 2 different narratives, this time switching full throttle Man in Black, he reveals his plan to destroy the Valley Beyond project, which he calls his big mistake. And this shows a full circle of him being pro-Dolores raids and pro-androids doing their thing.
Right.
He is on the same mission as Dolores. Bernard, though, with or without Elsie, is trying to prevent it all, at least for now. We'll see. I'm sure Dolores and Bernard's reactions are going to change when they were like, what? You know, what they're about to walk into in episode 10 tonight. But why didn't Emily whip out that data card? She took it out of her pocket too late. But because she keeps it in her pocket or takes it out of her pocket too late, telling the extracting Delos team that showed up that William is going delusional. By the way, they scanned his neck, yet upgrades probably override. So if he's human, it's clear. But he might have overrid it, just like Bernard got away with a lot and had a lot of access because he was an upper tier, unknown, sentient droid, unlike any others that Delos companies used to seeing. Unless, Strand is a megabot, like I've said for a long time. But anyway.
Right.
So William blasts the entire team. He shoots them all. Emily says, they're all humans you just killed. he is like, whatever, Ford, and blasts Emily across the supple human torso and her neck. She gone. William is suicidal now because he finds the card in her hands and realizes, oh no. And still, probably, he's a mega clone. We don't know, but he starts off riding away after he finds the data card, and he wanders off, gun to head, Bernard style. Then he hesitates and peels away at his heroin data entry point, which is basically this right here. I call it the heroin data entry point.
Right here. So let's break that down a little bit. So I'm gonna go back real quick, and not nothing too crazy, but so real quick, the hats, right? Some people might say that's kind of an ass pull that these hats just have these brain scanners in, but hey, it's the future, and it's the fact that they have androids that are that precise. Of course, they're gonna have some crazy hat that also reads their dome. And not everybody's wearing one at every moment, but I'm sure it's almost like deliberate.
Wait, I'm craving Arby's. Oh, it's just a hat.
$10 hat. At some point there's probably like a certain a prerogative of the androids to make sure if a guest hasn't worn a hat yet, they even just playfully put a hat on them so it can do a quick scan, and then they got that information. So that was very interesting.
It was very interesting, and it kind of answers a lot of people well, how do they really record everything when you don't have the guest's actual perspective? Well, the hats take care of that.
Right.
Brilliant.
Which is very brilliant. And then of course he gets up and is telling again Ford, stop with these games. She's already like, I'm not a host, Dad. I'm your daughter, and this is bullshit. You know what? Actually, I am going to tell you what's up. I'm here to fucking take you out, expose your project. I don't want in. I want to expose it, and I want to throw you in jail for what you're doing and this and that. And it's like, he just has that big cheesy smile. I love it.
And that also kind of confuses the audience a little bit. At least it did with me, because it's like, okay, when she was talking to Akachita, whatever, about punishing him way more than the Ghost Nation, whatever, you could look at it as he's going to eventually throw him in jail and expose him that he's not this big philanthropist. He's the actual dark motherfucker.
Right.
But really, was it, I'm going to make him kill me, and he's going to have no worse hurt than that.
He's going to think I'm a host, kill me, and realize that I was human, but little does he know that she really was a host the whole time. There's the double fucking flip, bro. It's going to happen. So she's a goner, bye-bye, and then he goes off to shoot himself. Well, another little scene to notice here. Right here in this particular scene, a fly flies behind him. I'm sure one of the flies from the Fly Wrangler himself, but what they deliberately do, which I assure the camera did not capture in that scene, was the sound of the fly buzzing behind William's head. And they made sure you heard that in that scene. Why? Well, what do flies are significant in this show as perhaps an android who's becoming awakened or slowly becoming woke, and that fly is in their presence. Well, it's there, right there in that scene, right before he's about to shoot himself, right before he stabs his arm. Though at that point too, I think the writers and producers of the show want you to think that he might be an android, but now he's probably not going to because they're showing it so obvious. But again, it's going to be that double fuckery, man.
It's extra double, might even be triple, because of the fact that we went through season 1 with they're programmed not to be able to shoot a guest, not be able to shoot themselves in the head or something like that. And then all of a sudden, that rule changed. So now we don't know if that's a human or an android William that's doing that, and we also don't know if he hesitated because of his humanness or his droidness.
Right, that's where it's crazy.
So let's go into the Mesa, shall we?
Yes, let's do it.
In the Mesa, Charlotte and, well, I call him Homer Simpson's coworker because he sure looks like it, they work to reproduce Maeve's ability to reprogram other hosts. So they figure out how she's using her telepathy powers, and once they do that, they reprogram other hosts via the haunting Clementine Pennyfeather. It works in an experiment using Clementine's Star Wars Seth-like force to switch on an exam room full of turned-off or sleep mode hosts to wake up, get up, and proceed to violently slaughter each other. It is now Charlotte's secret weapon against the remaining hosts of WestWorld as she decides to unleash Clementine Dark Seth Force 2.0 into the park and its outskirts, destroy the hosts with it.
Remember, now this is the Charlotte that is before Beach Bernardold. All right.
Well, speaking of Ford, Ford gets his downloaded message through Bernard to Maeve's exam room. As Maeve is incapacitated, she gets Ford's main message, and that's she has a lot more to do. I mean, I don't want to get too into it, but basically he's like, you were a diamond in the rough, you were special, and they turned you into a whore. Right. And it's a shame, but you got a lot more to do, and, well, I think this episode's going to have something big happen.
I love that scene, man. It was so touching to see Ford finally interact with Maeve, who...
I don't think she makes it into the forge like Dolores and Bernard, but she gets real close, at least from the photos we've seen.
Exactly. We'll discuss a little bit more of that a little bit, maybe over on Twitch, because there's some crazy pictures we got of her. But, I mean... What he tells her is so touching. He not only says, you were my favorite, Maeve, a dazzling star. You grew so fast in such a short amount of time. I had a different story in mind for you, a story where you escaped and got out and were free, but you decided to change that story to save your child. And, well, I want to save my child too, and that is you. Yeah. And, you know, maybe I was pushing you the wrong way, which all along I should have just opened the door. And, well... During all this testing with the Simpsons fucking, you know, Charlotte...
Half his messages are kind of an act because he does just eventually just want his way. So Bernard...
Of course. Well, he is the god.
Sweet talking with all of them, and then all of a sudden this happens. So, yeah, he's a god.
But it seemed very touching,
these
more touching.
These original OGs are like his little saints, his angels almost, depending on who they are.
Right.
Some
well, ultimately, he ends up kissing her on the head and... giving her a little smoochie, and
that was probably a download.
Right, it was exactly because it unlocked her mesh network.
When they finally put your neck up together, and you're gonna wake up.
She's gonna be fucking controlling animals.
Yeah. Right on. So Bernard tells Elsie that, and that's a great picture there. He's like, "Get the fuck out of my brain!" I love that picture right there. But Bernard tells Elsie Delos has been making copies of every part guest's mind to create a new all-in-one mainframe. Maybe mainframe silo of human clone pearls, which I'm sure that's what it is, and like a digital consciousness housed in a place called the Forge. What a perfect name. You got the cradle, now you got the Forge. This is located inside the Valley Beyond project. They prepared Elsie and Bernard for this, but in a dune buggy, the show did, but then they off-road it and try to cut off Dolores, but halfway there, they stop at a tech security murder scene for more firepower, and that is when Ford tries to get in Bernard's head, and not to distract Elsie or anything. If he wants him, he's like distract Elsie when he was at the cradle aftermath, but this time Ford wants Bernard to kill Elsie, get her completely out of the way, and she's a threat to the mission, and she can't help it because it's in her nature. Well, Elsie's small character, human, droid, or other, seems to be arcing towards the last-ditch effort switch flipper in a climax. But then when I saw the sneak peeks for tonight's show, I'm like, maybe not. But, I mean, it sure looked like, she kept getting left behind, but ultimately, she might be that last little, side note character that helps.
I think she might have a small part to help out in the finale, I think. Yeah, they're going to do something with her.
It might be a small part, like opening or closing something, but just enough to where one of our main characters gets out.
Right.
What do we have here? Well, Bernard is now showing that human emotion as he has in the past. Great scenes of season 2. He fights back, gets out of, he's like, "Get out of my head, you white creep," about Ford. I didn't think a heroin arm entry data point, though, hooked into an iPad is all it took to override Ford or even remove Ford from his tainted program Pearl. But he did it, at least for the meanwhile, at least. Just in case he ditches Elsie to protect her from the showdown, or he did do that.
Right.
And from himself, he put his little handcuff, little zip tie onto the steering wheel of the sand buggy, dune buggy thing. But what a survivor, that she is. Is she a clone, droid bot, assistant, slut? I mean, I don't know.
Right.
We don't know. She's just always in the right place at the right time. Mm-hmm. Makes you wonder, right? Well, do we have any pictures of Dolores or Teddy or the Horde?
Oh, yeah, we do. Yeah.
Because that's where we're at right now in this little synopsis, analysis, review of number 9. Dolores' Horde gets cut off by Ghost Nation, defending the last passage to the last leg into the valley. A battle begins. All of the Horde is killed, and all but one Ghost Nation member, the leader of that specific group, is not killed due to Teddy finally becoming total sentient in his sudden time of old Teddy mercy. So he let the one dude go.
Right.
You could tell his facial expressions that something was happening.
Right.
You know, he finally got to that sentient point, and it happened to be right then and there.
Mm-hmm.
So Teddy finds a warped, almost wall-less barn house, which is our background today. And as a regroup, regather point, he decides to go in there with Dolores, and it's just Teddy and Dolores. The whole horde got killed, and the battle scene, only one other person from Ghost Nation survived. So the episode I noticed watching with Aaron here, the episode time was running out, so it was easy to see where Teddy was going with his quote, "always be on your side and be your love," speech, as he had a full embodiment of sentience and time to go over all his awoken memories. Well, Teddy then tells Dolores he realizes she made him into a killing monster.
Right.
Unable to protect her anymore, he clips himself.
Oh,
and
man.
That loss seems to hit harder than losing Father Peter Abernathy.
I mean, look at that acting, man. I mean, that's...
yeah. I mean, that's like true, like, watching like a loved one, die in front of you. Dolores curls up next to Teddy's body, and for some reason it actually felt really sad to the viewers, at least to me. It was like, I shouldn't really be sad about this, but I kind of am, because it's kind of like what goes around comes around, just like Maeve said, and it just happened. And I say that post everything that's happened in both seasons,
Right.
You'd think I'd be, used to it, but not so much.
Well, let's go ahead and do our analysis and appreciation here of episode 9. Ultimately, what I thought about it, I thought it was a great transitional episode from the epic episode 8 into the finale. It really tied a lot of ends and answered some questions with William, as well as where this season is going to go. Though, like the show's true nature is, we really don't know what the F is going on. But ultimately, I love the acting. I love the foreshadowing. I love the symbology, and I love how all the scenes that they showed prior to this episode, all like I said, tied together. It was great. Pete, what did you appreciate about this?
Well, I appreciate lots of things like pearls, gray ones, yellow ones, pink pearls.
Oh wow!
Hey, even rainbow pearls. I mean, hey, I'm down with whatever, right?
Right.
And then of course you got the mini pearls, which are these little guys here.
Yeah.
They're for making the little fellas, But the whole idea that you can have an entire brain of a memory, thoughts, and information in something that small when our brains are this big is just boggles the mind, and it's amazing. Crazy. But all these shows that have different setups of the future, this is the closest thing to what really could happen.
I believe that.
Sooner than you think. I mean, within the century ahead, we will be there, at least in some part of the world. I mean, there are probably clones being made and not being successfully made with just regular biology, petri dishes and whatnot. But when you take robotics, this technology, and modern medicine and modern bioscience and merge it together, you can get this. Everything that we've created artistically in Star Trek and Star Wars and all this, now we have half that stuff. iPads, we have the phones, we have all this technology. We're going super fast. So I appreciate all the reveals, because episode 9 was the most revealing. It had more facts than any other episode, and that's what I appreciate.
Right on. I appreciate that. Yeah. That you appreciate that. Yeah. So let's go ahead and do an season finale, episode 10 preview, and I say one prediction each before we delve into our predictions and the rest of that souse over on the Twitch network. But I'm gonna go ahead and bring up.
We're a little bit more, I guess, off the cuff on Twitch.
Exactly.
I think I only dropped the F-bomb once on this show so far.
Yeah, I don't have as good
Not
as
that
filter.
That matters. It just we don't worry about filters on Twitch because we don't have to.
Exactly. Here's the preview, guys.
What?
Crazy preview, by the way.
Excuse me.
The other night, me and Pete sat and broke this down like frame by frame.
Yeah.
Let's try again.
And we have a lot to discuss about this crazy trailer.
It was an expensive night. We broke like probably 12 frames.
That which is real.
But a lot of stuff. I mean, they show a lot of little mini scenes flash and just literally frames real quick in certain instances. But one thing is for certain,
nothing else is in the way.
You see Dolores and Bernard with Logan.
It looks like a virtual reality Logan.
We
Not a
won't win.
droid, not a human, but a virtual reality.
I can see the bottom.
So here's
woke me from a dream, Bernard.
One of my predictions.
And you wanna see what I see?
There's only one
One of my
question
predictions
left
is
to ask.
there is a human virtual reality
Will you help
Pearl
me?
Zone, just like the host Cradle had the host pearls load into like a purgatory heaven while they await, in that mesh network, and that's where Bernard found Ford. I think the humans also have one in their forge that is just for the human minds to coexist with in a purgatory until they get reborn, and that's where they meet Logan. All right.
I totally agree with that. I can't think of any other version of that sounds perfect. That's pretty perfect. We'll see though. But as far as predictions are concerned for episode 10, I'm really worried that they're going to leave us with a cliffhanger that's going to kind of be aggravating. But this show has been so revealing every week that I don't think they're going to do that. I think we're going to see not only the inside of the forge, but we're going to see something happen to Dolores and Bernard that's going to change the whole game. I don't know if this is too far-fetched, but if Ford can get in there, via Bernard or some other way, then he'll help Bernard out, figure out what the hell is going on, because this is not an Arnold Ford project. This is a William/Delos project. And he's not going to have any memories to go back to like he did with the Cradle and the Outposts and WestWorld in general.
Right.
So I think that Ford will help him out. Maybe at the very end, it might not reveal it all, but that library that they showed, William had an infinity for books growing up and all that. Maybe that library is where all the data cards are kept. Maybe not the pearls. The pearls are probably in the red rooms with the great walkways, just like all the other faceless drone droid places. So that's probably where their pearls are, and their memories and stuff are kept. But as far as those data cards are, it's got to be in that library. So I think we'll discover that about the library, although it could be just one big virtual world. And that's going to shake everything up, because we've been looking forward to seeing park after park. And now we're going to go now you're going through another dimension, basically.
Exactly. And we'll discuss more about that over at twitch.tv/PanNerdia. That's twitch.tv/PanNerdia. We'll be going live to discuss even further details about Episode 9 and the season finale of Season 2 of WestWorld over at Twitch. That is twitch.tv/PanNerdia for the deeper delve into WestWorldia.
Woo!
And I hope you guys are excited for the finale. If you'd like, come join us over at Twitch here in about 10 minutes or so, where we will delve into, give you some time to think about your own conscious presence on this planet before you delve into a total mindfuckery.
It's party time. And I think Aaron's going to drink my cordial fluid out of this cone. Wait. Take a sip.
Banana.
Yeah.
All right, guys. We'll see you over at Twitch. Peace.
Enjoy the enjoyment.
Yar.
I know you will.